Lions, Packers. Packers by 8, over under 44.5. The Packers are 5-1-1 at home. They got their first win on the road of the season last week. They were 0-7 before they beat the Jets in overtime. These teams played in week 5. The Lions won 31-23. I think they were ahead, but that was one of those games where the Packers kind of mounted a rally, but it was a blowout for a while. By the way, over under 44.5. Last 5 for the Lions have gone under. 6 of the last 9 for the Packers have gone under. One guy I want to check here, Eamon Harrison. He missed practice Wednesday. I want to see what happened on Thursday here. Let's see. Oh, he practiced on Thursday. Okay, that's a big deal for them because they've been good stopping the run since he got there. I don't know here. I mean, I like the Packers. I don't love the Packers. This is more of like, who do I like? One of those games. Who do I hate less? And I think I hate. And the Packers. The offense has been better since the coaching change. You know, Rodgers has played, but they've kind of opened it up a little bit. I mean, maybe last week is because they need to come back, but things have changed a little bit for the better since they fired McCarthy.
Yeah, I like the Packers here. I think more. It's like what you said. Who do you hate less? And I really don't like the Lions at this point. I mean, I've kind of feel like I'm a Lions apologist because I think Matthew Stafford is really talented. Mm-hmm. But man, he's not been good lately. And you have to wonder about the whole organization. You know, did you hear that report about Matt Patricia and how he's late to meetings and stuff?
I did.
I mean, you know, it's his first year as a head coach, so maybe you give him a pass. But you know, there's just, for those who don't know, there's this report this week that he's basically late to all of his meetings, and he's late, I think, to his media availability, which people don't really. I mean, who cares if the media has to wait on a guy, really? But the fact, I think he's been on time to media availability one time this year, and then there's at least, I mean, he's got to meet the media a few times a week, so that's a pretty bad percentage of being on time. And for a coach who has to be so disciplined, and he doesn't look disciplined on the sideline, right? I mean, and Ryan Wilson from CBS Sports keeps calling him. He looks like a hobo, which is probably not fair. But the way you present yourself, I think, does make an impact on the way that people see you and people see your team. And if you're coming late to meetings all the time and your team's getting upset, that's not good. I mean, you think back to the Tom Coughlin idea of, well, if you're 5 minutes earlier on time, and if you're actually on time, you're late, which I think is a little ridiculous. But there's probably something to that, and there's something to his success based on his time management skills. If Patricia doesn't have any of those skills, it's a little thing, but you know, there's not a whole lot that separates good coaches from bad coaches in this league. I feel like, and that's a bad look for him, bad look for the organization, and you got to wonder, like, what's going on in Detroit, man?
Yeah, it's definitely a bad look. As far as the practical impact of it, really, I mean, I think being, as a person who used to be habitually late, I mean, I'm not perfect for sure. But I used to be one of those people who was always making people wait, and it's kind of a character flaw, I think. Like, if you're late, if he's making his team wait, if that's true that he's making his players wait on meetings, that's not good, because there's an accountability level that they're probably sitting there like, you know, what the hell with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, why am I supposed to, you know, respect? He has no respect for my time. And look, I don't think it's the end of the world if he's like this. It's not great. Like, it's probably not, you know, engendering any goodwill for himself in the locker room, if this report is in fact true. As far as the media goes, I know people don't care about the media, but look, if you're going to act like that, and then you're going to lecture media when you're there, which he's done,
yeah,
don't get mad when they, you know, beat you up, you know, because I mean, you're asking for
it, and find silly stories like this. I mean,
right?
If this is a team that's 10-5, and Patricia's been great all year long with the media and respects the media, then maybe the story doesn't necessarily come out. But, you know, I mean, there's always rocks to look under when the team is terrible and the coach is being a jerk.
I'm going to make my second Bull Durham reference of the show right now. How well do you know that movie?
I know it, but probably not as well as you do.
There's a scene where the whole thing was Kevin Costner's character, Crash, was there to mentor this Nuka Loose, this talented 18-year-old pitcher. And he held up, he said, "You have fungus on your shower shoes." And he said, so what? He said, look, when you win 20 games in the major leagues, you can have focus on your shower shoes and the press will think you're colorful. Until then, it means you're a slob. And that's what Matt Patricia. If you're 10-5, we're not having this conversation, but you're not. And, too bad. Sometimes that's the way life works. Maybe you don't think it's fair, but you lecture the media on, the questions they ask and you don't show up on time. People write stories about you being late to meetings. Hey, man, oh, well.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, a pro wrestling podcast, and they were talking about Ric Flair and how he come out in his big flashy robe, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows the presentation that he would put on, and how he would wear his however much his suits cost and his alligator shoes and his Rolex watches and all that, and that's part of his gimmick. And that was it. But they were talking about his boots, his wrestling boots, and how his boots always look good. I mean, for the most part, his boots always look good. And it was whatever match they're watching, his boots didn't look good. They looked a little beat up or whatever. And how that was it was so weird that they noticed it, because Ric Flair doesn't do that. And that kind of attention to detail, when your boots look like you have the robes and the flashy, but your boots also look good and they match and they're not beat up. It's a stupid thing, but it's maybe not a stupid thing. Presentation matters, and the way you carry yourself matters. And if Matt Patricia does a Bill Belichick hobo look on the sideline, well, that's fine, and Bill Belichick wins games. Matt Patricia doesn't win games. It's a different story. And if you're late to meetings, if you don't care, obviously, I'm late a lot. I've been late a lot. I've been late a decent amount to this podcast. I show up at 6:02 my time instead of 6 o'clock, and I don't like that about myself that I'm late, but it just impacts you. So really, who cares? But Matt Patricia, it's impacted a lot of people who it's like I said, it's the little things that you win in this league. And maybe that's a stupid thing, but maybe it's a little thing that matters.
Right. All right. So back to after that hard-hitting football analysis by us, get back to the game. So the Lions are 2-5 on the road. I said middle of the year, early in the year, I kept saying, I don't think they're terrible. I think they're just a tick below mediocre. I don't know that I think that anymore. And Stafford, he has no help. I mean, they traded Tate and Jones got hurt and Kerryon Johnson got hurt. And, his weapons are just gone pretty much, other than Galladay. I mean, I love Galladay, but I don't know. This one, I think I like the way the Packers have played the last couple of weeks. I think they probably cover.
Yep,
So, all right. So we both got the Packers. Right now on NFLPickwatch.com, we've got 63% of the experts like the Packers given the points. 61% of the fans like the Packers given the points. All right. So just to update everybody, we're somewhere around 30 minutes and we've covered 5 games. So we're going to pick up the pace a little bit.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. We've got a lot to talk about with shower shoes and, lateness and hobos and stuff like that. So